Abandoned in the dust, the sky was on fire. Red smoke rose above the broken towers of the alien city. Buildings were falling. Sirens screamed. The ground shook as evacuation ships took off one by one, rising into the dark sky like silver birds escaping a storm dot in the middle of all this chaos. She lay there, still, silent, watching. Her name was Ilara. She was young, maybe 16 in Earth years. Her skin was light blue, with soft silver lines glowing under it, alien tech built into her body. But her legs did not move. Her spine had been damaged during the attack. She couldn't run. She couldn't walk. She could barely crawl. She reached out toward a group of her own people, other aliens who were rushing toward the last escape shuttle. Wait. Her voice was weak, her language soft and full of pain. Help me. One of them stopped. It was her commander. A tall figure in a black suit, his face hidden under a smooth helmet. He looked down at her. There was silence. You are broken, he said flatly. You will slow us down. But, she tried to speak. The commander turned away. Survival comes first. The group walked away without looking back. The last shuttle door closed. The ship rose into the sky, fire bursting from its engines. And then, they were gone. The wind blew dust across her face. Ilara lay there, alone. Far from her, outside the city. A human man was watching everything through a broken pair of binoculars. J. Carter, Earthborn, mid-30s, former soldier. Now scavenger. He had a rough beard, a dirty jacket, and eyes that had seen too much war. He muttered to himself, great, more aliens running from their problems. He wasn't here for drama. He was here for tech. The city was full of alien junk, valuable stuff he could sell. Jay parked his small hoverbike near the edge of the ruins. He stepped down, scanning the area with an old handheld sensor. Suddenly, the sensor beeped. Weak life signal. Close by. Odd, he said. Thought everyone bailed. He followed the signal through the cracked streets, over broken glass and crushed metal. The noise of distant fire still echoed around him. Then he saw her, lying in the middle of the street. Like a broken doll was her. Her body was half covered in rubble. Her eyes opened weakly as he stepped closer. Jay frowned. What the hell? She looked at him. Not with fear, but with exhaustion. Like someone who had already accepted death. He knelt beside her. You're still alive? She said nothing. Just blinked slowly. A tiny sound came from her lips. A soft word in her alien tongue. Jay sighed. You don't understand me, do you? He looked around. No movement, no threats. Just smoke and silence. He reached for his radio. Base, this is Carter, found a survivor. Alien girl, half-conscious, paralyzed maybe. The radio crackled. HQ says ignore. Alien life not authorized for recovery. Move on. Jay stared at the girl. Her fingers were twitching, trying to grab a piece of metal near her hand. Copy. That, he said. He turned the radio off. Then he looked at her again. Her face. The way she had been left there like trash. The way she didn't beg, didn't cry. Just waited. Jay took a deep breath. Damn it. He picked up a piece of cloth from his bag and gently wiped the dust from her face. You're not my problem. He muttered, but maybe that's the problem. He slid his arms under her body carefully. She gasped in pain but didn't fight. I got you, he said softly. He carried her back to his hoverbike. Strapped her in the backseat as carefully as he could. As he started the engine, she looked up at him. Her voice cracked. Just one word in broken English. Why? Jay paused. He didn't have an answer. But he smiled a little. Guess I'm just stupid like that. The hoverbike roared as it lifted into the air and sped off toward the desert. Behind them, the city burned, and above them, something in the sky watched silently. Asterisk, learning each other. Jay's hoverbike cut across the desert, wind whipping past his face, engine humming low. The girl behind him didn't move much, barely conscious. Her head rested against his back. Her blue skin was cold to the touch. He didn't know where he was going. He just knew he couldn't leave her there. A new shelter an hour later. Jay reached a hidden spot inside a rocky canyon, his shelter. A broken-down cargo pod he'd converted into a livable bunker. It had food, power, medical gear, and most importantly, no one knew about it. He carried the girl inside, gently placing her on a soft blanket spread over old foam panels. She groaned weakly, her fingers twitching. Jay checked her vitals using a scanner. Her body temperature was low. Her internal systems, strange, not fully biological. Not fully mechanical either. Some kind of alien tech was woven into her nerves. Never seen anything like this, he whispered. Half machine, but not a robot. He injected her with a warming agent and gave her oxygen through a mask. She slept. Hours passed. Jay watched her breathe. The first night later that night, Jay sat by a makeshift fire pit outside, holding a cup of lukewarm protein drink. The stars above looked cold and far away. He kept glancing at the bunker door. I should have left her, he said aloud. But he knew he didn't believe it. Inside, the girl stirred. Her eyes opened slowly, blinking at the soft ceiling light. Jay walked in, crouching beside her. She flinched. Hey, it's okay, he said gently, hands up. I'm not gonna hurt you. Her glowing silver eyes stared at him. She tried to sit up, but her legs didn't respond. Her arms were weak. She fell back with a frustrated sound. Easy, Jay said. You're injured, spine's messed up. I patched what I could. She spoke something in her language, soft musical words. He didn't understand, but her voice sounded scared, tired, confused. Jay shook his head. Yeah, I don't speak alien, sweetheart. She frowned at the word sweetheart. Jay chuckled. Okay, you didn't like that. He grabbed a piece of scrap metal and began drawing symbols in the dust on the floor. A triangle, a star, a stick figure. Then he pointed at himself. Jay, he pointed at her. You? She watched him silently. Then raised a shaking hand and pointed at herself. Alara. He smiled. Ilara, nice name. Drawing the truth the next day, Jay brought her food, not real food, but liquid nutrients that could be injected. Her kind couldn't eat human food, apparently. She watched him the whole time, studying him. Like a child trying to figure out a puzzle. To talk, they used drawings. He'd draw something, she'd draw back. Sometimes she got frustrated. She wanted to say more. Her hands would tremble. Tears would fill her eyes. Jay started building her a makeshift wheelchair from scrap parts and hover discs. It wasn't elegant, but it worked. As he worked, she sat nearby and watched. She drew symbols on paper. One day, she drew something strange, a circle with lines and fire inside it. Jay stared. What's that? She looked at him, her expression dark. Then she drew another symbol, a mark. Jay's face changed. That mark he had seen it once, years ago, on a classified file back when he was a soldier. A symbol used by a secret alien research project. Something dangerous. What the hell are you? He whispered, glitching the girl that night. Jay was fixing an old radio when he heard something. A high-pitched hum. Then a flash of light. He ran into the room. Alara was having some kind of seizure. Her eyes glowed bright white, and symbols lit up across her skin. Whoa, hey. Jay held her down gently. Breathe. She gasped, eyes wide open, as a strange projection appeared in the air above her chest, like a hologram, a star map, dozens of planets. But one glowed red. She passed out. The map vanished. Jay just stood there, heart pounding. What the hell did you just show me? Whispers from the past. Jay stayed up all night, digging through old military files on a dusty terminal. He searched for the symbols, the map, The mark she had drawn. And he found it. Code name, Project Luminaris. A top-secret alien program to create a living vessel, someone who could carry ancient knowledge, hidden power. A walking key to something buried far away in the stars. The file. SUD. Subject failed. Brain rejected programming. Condition irreversible. Subject left behind. Jay leaned back in his chair, shocked. They had used her. Then thrown her away. No wonder they abandoned you. A small smile. Next morning, he brought her outside in the wheelchair. The canyon was quiet. A warm wind blew. He handed her a small music player. She listened. Strange earth music played, old jazz. She smiled. A tiny smile. Jay looked at her. You remember anything about that map? She nodded slowly, then pointed up at the stars. Jay sighed. Figures. Whatever's out there, it's important, isn't it? She touched his arm. Whispered in broken English, danger. Come. He looked at her. Then looked at the horizon. And saw something. Dust trails, ships, approaching fast. Oh no. He grabbed his gear. Someone had found them. Asterisk, the symbol of fire. The canyon was no longer quiet. Dust rose in the distance like a storm. Jay narrowed his eyes as he scanned the horizon through a cracked pair of binoculars. 3 black ships, lean. Fast, no logos. Definitely not friendly, mercenary class, the kind hired to do work governments don't want to admit to. And they were coming straight for them. Behind him, Elara sat in the wheelchair. She wasn't blinking. Her glowing eyes were locked on the ships, her body tense. Jay didn't hesitate. All right, princess, he said, tossing supplies into a bag. Time to run. He wheeled her toward the hoverbike. It wasn't built for 2, especially not with one being half paralyzed and half alien. But it was all they had. Hold on to me if you can, he said, strapping her in. Otherwise just scream if I start driving into a canyon wall. She blinked. Scream? Jay grinned. Yeah. Like this, GH. She stared blankly. Then, a small sound escaped her lips. A laugh, just a tiny one. Jay froze. It was the first time she'd laughed. Okay, now I have to keep you alive, he said. Kicking the engine on. Chase across dust, the hoverbike shot out of the canyon as the enemy ships dropped lower. Plasma shots hit the rocks around them, exploding with blinding flashes. Jay dodged left and right, flying low to the ground to avoid being locked by missiles. Just great, he shouted over the wind. They're not even asking questions anymore. Elara gripped the back of his jacket. Her voice trembled. They want me. Yeah, I figured that out around the time they started blowing up my retirement cave. One of the ships flew low beside them, a soldier leaning out with a blaster. Jay pulled a sharp left into a narrow ravine. The bike scraped the rock walls. As they zigzagged through, I hope that alien brain of yours has an escape plan. She raised her hand weakly and pointed forward. Jay didn't understand until he saw it. An old maintenance shaft hidden behind a rockfall. Just wide enough, hang on. He pushed the bike to full throttle and blasted through the rocks, just before a missile hit behind them. The explosion threw them into the tunnel's darkness. Silence. The tunnel of ghosts. The shaft was cold, silent, filled with echoes. It led deep underground, toward a forgotten part of the ancient alien city, a place even scavengers didn't go. Jay stopped the bike and helped her off. I don't think they'll follow us down here, he said. Too old, too unstable. Looked around at the strange carvings on the walls. Glowing symbols. Some were the same Elara had drawn before. Where are we? He asked. Elara reached out and touched a panel. Her skin lit up, syncing with the ancient tech. The walls came alive. Lights flickered. A door opened. Inside, a chamber, round, filled with alien machines, floating crystals. A soft hum of energy. Jay stepped in slowly. This is incredible. Ilara wheeled forward. Her eyes locked on the center pedestal, where a small device floated, glowing faint red. Jay raised an eyebrow. That's the thing, isn't it? She nodded. What is it? Her voice was soft. Memory, fire, weapon. Oh, good, he muttered, because nothing says a relaxing afternoon like ancient alien weapons. She reached toward it, but something stopped her. A hologram activated. An alien woman appeared, speaking in Ilara's language. Jay looked to her. What's she saying? Ilara translated slowly. They made me to carry this, to hide it from enemies. But I was not strong enough. The hologram changed. It showed Ilara, younger, inside a lab, surrounded by machines, needles, scientists, fear in her eyes. Then it showed a stamp. Subject deemed defective. Jay's stomach turned. They created you for this. And when you didn't work fast enough, they left you behind. She didn't speak, just stared at the floating device. Jay stepped forward. Hey, you don't have to do anything you don't want. You're not a tool. You're not a thing. She looked at him, eyes shining. Why? She asked. Why do you care? Jay thought for a long time. Because when I was broken, he said, someone saved me. Didn't give up on me, I figured. Maybe it's my turn. Betrayal in the shadows. Suddenly, a voice echoed behind them. Touching. Very touching. Jay turned. A man in black armor stepped through the door, human, scarred, with a cold smile. Carter, he said. You were supposed to be dead. By now. Still working on that, Jay replied. The man raised a gun. Step away from the girl. Jay didn't move. You don't know what she carries, the man said. That memory in her head? It's more than just data. It's a weapon protocol. Wakes up and boom, bye-bye star system. Jay raised his hand slowly. So why not destroy it? Because I don't want to destroy it, the man said, smiling wider. I want to use it. Ilara's voice was calm now. He cannot take it. Only I can carry it. Then you'll come with us, the man said. Jay whispered. No, she won't. And just like that, Jay drew his pistol and fired. The man ducked, returning fire. Blasts flew across the chamber. Jay dove, sliding beside Ilara. Can you move at all? No, he looked around. Well, guess what? Time to improvise. He pushed her wheelchair toward the device. Touch it. He shouted, do what you have to. She reached out, and as her fingers touched the memory crystal, light exploded around them. The chamber shook. The machines came alive. Jay grabbed her, shielding her as energy swirled. The enemy screamed. No. Everything went white. Fade to silence. Jay opened his eyes slowly. The chamber was silent. The enemy, gone. Vaporized or thrown back. Only smoke and broken tech remained. Ilara was in his arms, her body glowing softly. He touched her cheek. You okay? She opened her eyes. I remember everything now. What was that? Her voice was steady. The fire they gave me was never meant for war. It was meant to stop one. Jay blinked. What does that mean? She looked at him. They are coming. Jay's heart sank. Who's they? Her answer came slowly. Not human. Not mine. Something older. Jay stood, jaw clenched. Well, I guess we better get ready. Asterisk hunted. The chamber was quiet now. The glow had faded. The machines were still. But the air felt different. Like it remembered what just happened. Jay helped Ilara sit up. Her skin was warm. Her eyes brighter. The strange tech inside her now pulsed with new life, gentle blue veins of light that moved like whispers under her skin. He watched her carefully. What just happened? Ilara looked at her hands. She flexed her fingers slowly. The memory woke up, but only part. You nearly burned this whole place down with that part, Jay muttered. Still shaking, she turned toward the center of the room where the floating device once was. It had melted, shattered like glass, leaving only dust. "I can't hold all of it," she whispered. "But it's inside me now, like—" A second voice. Jay didn't like the sound of that. The retreat he got them back on the hoverbike and left the ruins fast. They traveled through old paths, hiding between cliffs and sandstorms. The mercenaries would regroup. Maybe more would come. Every hour, Jay checked the skies. Every night, he rigged traps around their camps. He didn't sleep much, but Elara changed. Her body was healing faster now. Still couldn't walk, but her strength was returning. Her speech, too. "Jay," she said one night while they sat near a small fire, "why do humans not run from me?" Jay chuckled, biting into a protein bar. "Oh, trust me, some humans run from anything they don't understand. But I'm not like most." "Why?" He looked at her. The fire reflected in her silver eyes. "Because when you've lost everything," he said, "you stop being afraid of weird and start following what feels right." She was quiet. "Then, you feel right?" Jay blinked. "I mean a look, not romantic right. I mean, ooh, don't look at me like that." She smiled. Jay looked away, flustered. "Aliens are too damn pretty. It's unfair." The warning that night, Elara woke up gasping. Jay rushed over. "What is it?" She grabbed his wrist. "They are awake." "Who?" Her eyes were glowing, not softly, but bright. A signal, a flare. The memory was trying to speak through her. She pointed upward. "To the stars. They know I'm active now, and they are coming." Jay's blood went cold. "Who the hell are they?" Elara closed her eyes. "They are not from my world. They were before us, before many. Ancients?" She nodded. "The first creators, but also destroyers." Jay grabbed his gear. "Okay, then we're going underground, off radar. The safe house that wasn't he reached an old mining base deep in the cliffside. Jay used to hide supplies there." He opened the heavy metal doors and guided the bike inside. The place was dusty, filled with old crates, broken bots, and flickering lights. But it had thick walls. Good protection. Jay rigged up sensors and hacked the doors shut. "You'll be safe here," he said. But Elara didn't relax. She stared at the ceiling. "Something is listening." Jay paused. "Sensors say we're clear." "They don't hear what I hear," she said softly. And then the lights went out. Total darkness. Jay raised his gun. Movement? No answer. He clicked on his visor light. Nothing in front. Then came a metallic hiss. From the vents above. Jay aimed upward. A shadow moved. Fast. Then gone. "What the hell?" Elara's voice was cold. "They sent a scout." The lights flickered back on briefly, showing something inhuman crawling on the walls. Like a twisted machine, with claws made of black glass and a face like a blank mask. It screeched. And the power died again. Jay fired. Asterisk death in the dark. The creature was fast, inhumanly fast. It dropped from the ceiling, slashing at Jay. He rolled back, taking a hit to the shoulder. Armor cracked. Elara screamed as the creature turned to her. But before it reached her, Jay shot the control panel beside it. Sparks exploded. The machine shrieked. It wasn't fully physical. It glitched as it moved, phasing between matter and shadow. Jay grabbed the plasma cutter. "You picked the wrong apocalypse." He growled. He slashed at it, burning half its arm off. It screeched, escaping back into the vents. Smoke filled the room. Elara coughed. Jay ran to her. "You all right?" She nodded. "That was just one. More will come." "Great," he said. "How many?" She looked up at him, her voice low. "An army." The half-truth once the power was restored. Jay sealed the base completely. No outside signals. He covered everything with jamming tech. Still, he felt watched. Elara sat by the med station, her skin flickering with strange light. Jay asked, "What aren't you telling me?" She hesitated. "I wasn't just made to hold memory," she said. I was made to choose. Choose what? She looked him in the eyes, whether to release what's inside me or erase it. Jay stared. You have that choice? She nodded. But if I release it, it could destroy the ones coming. And many innocent worlds too. Jay's voice dropped. That's why they want you. Not just for control, but to force your choice. He paced the room. So ... You're a walking key, and now they know where the lock is. Ilara said nothing. She simply whispered, I'm tired, Jay. Jay walked over and knelt in front of her. You're not alone. Final glimpse later that night, while Ilara rested, Jay looked through the external camera feeds. And there, in the sky just for a moment, he saw them. Black. Ships. Far above orbit. Watching. Not moving. Not blinking. Just ... Waiting, he whispered. This war's already started, hasn't it? From behind him, Ilara said softly, No, it hasn't even begun yet. Asterisk the flight to nowhere. The countdown had begun. Not from a computer. Not from a bomb, but from the silence in the sky. Jay stared at the black ships above orbit still, unmoving, almost calm in their deadly patience. Like predators who knew their prey had nowhere left to run. We have to leave, he said. Now. The hidden starcraft Jay didn't trust many people. But a few years ago, he'd done a job for a black market mechanic who owed him big. Real big dots so deep beneath the rocky cliffs of this forgotten desert world. Buried under layers of metal and dust lay something special. A small experimental starcraft, half human, half stolen alien tech. Illegal, untested, untouched. Jay blew. Opened the access door using old codes and a little too much explosive. Inside was darkness, stale air, and a silver beauty. Damn, he muttered, brushing dust off the cockpit. You're even prettier than I remembered. Ilara floated in beside him in her jury-rigged hover chair. Her eyes scanned the ship. This can fly? Jay grinned. Baby, this can run faster than regret. She didn't get the joke. He didn't. Explain. The escape they loaded the ship in under an hour, bare essentials. Food packs, medical gear, one low-range laser cannon, which Jay called Plan Z, and a box of mystery tech Jay had been saving for when everything goes completely to hell. Which by his measure was now. Ilara connected her system to the nav computer. The ship reacted instantly. Lights flickered, controls powered on. A holographic star map pulsed on the console. Jay whistled. You two just made friends? She nodded slowly. It remembers me. Well, that's terrifying. The engines roared to life. Dust and fire flew as they lifted off, and the sky changed. The black ships began moving. They don't want us leaving, Ilara said. Too bad. Jay replied, flipping switches. They should have asked nicely. Through the fire, they broke the atmosphere fast. But the moment they hit orbit, the enemy ships came alive. Laser fire cut across the stars. One blast hit their left thruster, sending sparks into the cabin, shields failing. The ship's AI screamed in flat, sarcastic monotone. Maybe consider not dying. Helpful, thank you. Jay yelled, diving the ship hard left. Ilara reached out. Her fingertips touched the console, and suddenly, the ship's systems shifted, responded to her. Grew faster, smarter, smoother. What are you doing? Synchronizing, she said. Calmly, as if it was a yoga stretch. The ship pulsed with light. Their path opened. A small wormhole, unstable, flickering, appeared on the edge of the system. Jay gulped. That wormhole's about as stable as my dating life. It will work. It better, or I'm haunting you. Enter the void. They jumped. Space folded. Time. Didn't quite stop, but it hesitated. The stars stretched. The ship groaned like it was passing through a needle's eye. Then silence, deep space. A zone outside normal travel lanes. No planets. No stations. Just a lonely void. Elara slumped in. Her chair. Her skin flickered like a dying candle. Jay turned to her. You okay? She nodded weakly. The ship needed energy. I gave it some of mine. He looked at her. How much? Enough. Her voice was softer now, like she was fading. Jay moved closer. You're not doing this alone. You hear me? Not again. She smiled faintly. I'm not alone. I have you. Then she passed out. The message in her mind, Jay laid her gently in the medbed. Connected her vitals to the system. That's when the screen lit up with a message, not text. Not video. A dream. A sequence of symbols, emotions, memories. A forest planet. A war that never officially happened. A secret meeting. And something buried, ancient, massive, alive and sleeping. Underneath the crust of a dead moon, Jay leaned closer. His head pulsed. The memory wasn't his, but it was pulling him in. Then came a whisper. Protect the vessel, or all will burn. He jerked back. Elara's body glowed briefly, then went still. The ghost station, the ships. I chimed in. We've reached the coordinates your girlfriend punched in. She's not my never mind. Ahead of them floated a massive object, a space station, old, dead, completely unlit. Jay stared. This doesn't look like salvation. This looks like a horror movie intro. The ship docked. Jay armed himself, grabbed a flashlight, and stepped. Inside, something is watching. The station was vast, cold. Every wall was marked with the same symbol Elara had once drawn in the dirt. A burning circle. He moved through the halls, hearing things. Whispers. Echoes of footsteps that weren't his. A single console still glowed faintly. He powered it up. The screen showed him. Not in real time. A recording. Jay, standing beside Elara, holding her hand, speaking words he'd never said. If I fail, she fails, and if she fails, they return. He stepped back. What the you? Suddenly, a voice came from behind him. You shouldn't have come alone. Jay turned, and there stood a copy of Elara, but older. Colder. Eyes black instead of silver. The revelation. This Elara clone stepped forward. I am what she might become. If the fire inside wins, Jay raised his weapon. You're not her. No, but I was, in one of the failed timelines. Jay's breath caught. You're from the memory bank, she nodded. And you are more than a protector. You are. Her balance. I don't do balance. I shoot things and run. You're doing better than most. Then her eyes flicked upward. They found you. Final moments back on the ship. Elara awoke screaming. Her body trembled as lights pulsed violently. She whispered one word. They're here. Jay ran back to the ship, slamming the door just as a shadow passed over the station. A ship the size of a city, not alien. Not mechanical, something older. Something that looked like it had been sleeping for eons. Jay jumped into the cockpit. Where? Do we go now? Elara looked up, eyes glowing bright gold. We don't run. He stared. We fight? She nodded. We awaken the real fire. The truth buried in her. The sky wasn't just dark anymore. It was watching. From the window of the starship, Jay stared out at the monstrosity hanging in orbit. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't even built. It looked like it had grown alive and dead at the same time, covered in jagged stone and dark vines, as if the universe itself had choked it into silence. And now, it had awakened. Elara. Fractured Elara sat slumped in her chair, her skin flickering like static. The lines of alien energy across her body pulsed faster, too fast. Hey. Look at me, Jay said, crouching in front of her. Her voice was distant. I hear them, in my blood. Jay's voice cracked. What are they saying? They want me to open the fire. Use it. Light the stars again. You're not a weapon, he said fiercely. You're not theirs. She looked at him. her silver eyes now glowing with gold mixed in like two galaxies at war. "But I'm not yours either," she whispered. Jay pulled back, like she'd just hit him. Hard. Visions from the station, the ancient station. Wasn't abandoned. Not really. As Jay re-entered it, following a pulse from Alara's memory map, the walls lit up with a strange light, reacting to her presence, even while she wasn't inside. It remembered her, or versions of her. Down in the core, he found a sealed door with that burning circle again. He placed his hand on it. The door opened, and Jay wasn't in the station anymore. He was somewhere else, Memoriscopeth world. Around him shimmered, stars pulsed, moons blinked like eyes. He stood on the surface of a black ocean. In front of him, Alara. Or maybe her original, or maybe a memory of a memory. "I need to know what she is," he said. The memory. Alara spoke with no mouth, but her voice filled the air. "She is not one. She is many, a vessel, a backup, a puzzle, a key. But also, a choice." Jay frowned. "A choice for what? For fire, or for mercy? For vengeance, or for love? One path will burn the enemy, the other may burn everything." Jay fell to his knees. "She's just a kid. And you are just a human. But together, you're the only part of this equation that isn't broken." The real origin. Back on the ship, Alara had pulled herself from the chair and crawled to the console. Her fingers slid across the star map. Symbols appeared. A planet, long dead. Cracked open like an egg. It was her birthplace, not a home, a lab. They had grown her there. In a cradle of false hope and cold science. Jay returned, panting. "I saw it, all of it." She didn't turn. "You weren't just meant to carry the weapon," he said. "You are the weapon." She whispered. "I was born to die, so they could live. And if you die," Jay said softly, "they win anyway. Because you never got to choose." She looked at him now, eyes trembling. "I'm scared." He knelt. "Good. Means you're still you." Enemy breach. The massive entity outside the station opened its hull, and out came the harvesters. Dark, slick, bone-thin machines with faces like broken glass and limbs that moved like whispers. Thousands of them. Jay aimed every cannon they had. The AI said, "You do realize you are severely underprepared, right? Do you want a personality upgrade? Because I'll punch your motherboard." Fire from within. Alara stepped forward, unaided. Walking. Her body glowed with a light not just alien but ancient, holy, terrifying. "I can hold the fire now," she said, her voice echoing slightly. "But if I use it..." Jay finished for her. "You won't come back." She nodded. "Then don't," he said quickly. "We run, we hide, we figure it out. You don't have to become the thing they made you." She reached out and touched his cheek. "I'm not becoming that." "What are you becoming then?" Her smile was small, sad, beautiful, something new. The final choice. The ship cracked from impact. Harvesters began boarding. Time was gone. Jay looked at her. "Please." She leaned in, whispered something in his ear so soft only he would hear it. Then she stepped into the center of the ship's core and called the fire. The station lit up like a second sun. The black ship screamed, a soundless shriek across dimensions. And Alara vanished into light. Silence after the storm. Jay awoke. The ship was drifting. The station was gone. The black monstrosity in orbit, reduced to ash. Everything was silent now, except her voice, one final whisper in his mind. "I made the choice. I chose you." Jay sat alone in the cockpit. A world saver. A ghost lover. A man with a galaxy's worth of questions, and no one left to answer them, except maybe, just maybe, she wasn't truly gone. More human than human. The stars were quiet again. For the first time in 1,000 years, the fire had gone out not by force, but by choice. And somewhere, drifting alone in the dark, Jay Carter sat staring at a galaxy that felt just a little colder without her in it. The ghost in the machine he hadn't spoken in 3 days. The AI stopped trying to make jokes after day 2. The ship floated near a dwarf star now, running low on fuel, food, and hope. Jay didn't care. He sat in the co-pilot's seat, staring at the empty chair beside him. Her chair. His fingers kept brushing the edge of a datapad. It was the last thing she touched before everything went white. He hadn't opened it. Yet until now the pad blinked to life. A single message appeared. If you are reading this, I'm gone, but not all the way. Jay leaned forward, breath caught in his throat. I uploaded part of myself, not the weapon, not the fire, just the me I wanted to be. The girl you talked to, laughed with, saved. If you follow the coordinates I left, there's something waiting for you. A place not marked on any map. It's not the end, Jay, just the next chapter. The coordinates. Jay entered the coordinates. The ship jolted. Then warped. No black ships followed. No signals tracked them. Just silence. And when the jump ended, they weren't in deep space. They were near a planet. Small, green, blue. Alive. A world untouched, hidden behind nebulae. Protected by ancient tech. The eye chimed in. Life signs detected. Low technology. No known civilization registry. Jay stood, stunned. She found a place where no one's hunting her. The ship beeped. Correction, no one is hunting you. The garden planet. Jay landed near a lake surrounded by giant silver trees. The wind was warm, the sky pinkish gold. It smelled like new beginnings. He stepped out alone. Walked. Hours passed. Then he saw it. A small structure. Grown, not built. Made of living roots and crystal. A home. He stepped closer. And then he heard her voice. Soft, musical, real. Took you long enough. He turned. And there she was. EY Lara. But different. Alive, solid, standing. No fire, no glow. Just her. The impossible answer. Jay didn't understand. Couldn't speak. She walked toward him, not limping. Not floating, fully healed. Fully here. How? He began. She smiled. I left the weapon behind. All of it. The fire, the war, the noise. I saw you disappear, he said. You were gone. I was. That version of me. Burned with the fire. This one was a seed. A seed? Part of the memory inside me wasn't destruction, she said. It was restoration, a blueprint, for this body, this place. A second chance. Jay staggered back. You recreated yourself. No, I chose myself. She stepped forward and took his hand, and I chose you. Revelation, the real test. They sat beneath the trees as the sun set. She told him everything. That the ancient ones who made her weren't gods or monsters. They were testers, observers. They seeded galaxies with challenges and watched who chose war and who chose love. Jay was never just a scavenger. He had been selected, not because he was perfect, but because he was human, flawed, stubborn, compassionate. In his refusal to abandon her, he had passed the real test, not of strength, but of soul. A new beginning. Months passed. They built a new home. Jay repaired old equipment, taught her how to fish, cursed every alien bug that tried to eat him. Alara planted strange glowing flowers. They laughed more, spoke often, grew close. One night under the stars, he looked at her. Are we just going to pretend this isn't something? She smirked. Define something. Jay took her hand. Something real. She leaned in. Then let's stop pretending. The final whisper. Years later, travelers found the world. Explorers from Earth. They met Jay and the woman beside him, calm, kind, radiant. They asked who she was. Jay simply smiled. She's not from here, but she's more human than most of us will ever be.